What's up, guys? This is Ben, and today we're going to be building a Grindbox or a ledge, a DIY Grindbox or ledge that's built out of cinder blocks, angle iron, and like liquid nails construction adhesive. So now here's just a little mock-up. It won't really be like this, but this is the metal that goes on the edge. It's angle iron. This is a cinder block, or you've got the bigger ones. Yeah, so here's like a little setup. Is with one brick glued on top of another brick. That's a pretty good height. A little bit taller might be a little bit better. This is a little bit low. And then you stick it all together just with glue. And I'll show you the glue. This is liquid nails construction adhesive. Make sure it's the exterior. I'm sure in the past I've used Loctite PL bond and it's worked well for me, but they started charging more and more for it, and liquid nails is $2.50, and I was paying $5 for the PL bond. Anyway, here's where the old box was. We popped it up because we didn't like the location. I want to move it over there. I want to show you. Look how the liquid nails held on to this particular brick. This is actually the brick stuck. The glue stayed and it ripped the brick, as when we popped it up we hammered something under it to pop it up. It didn't do that everywhere. You know, here, like in some spots the glue ripped up, or the glue ripped loose from the brick, or ripped loose from the ground, but in some spots, yeah, it like this one, it ripped the brick. So this stuff's strong. The box we had here got skated a ton, and it had been here since October 2015, and it was popped up in November, at the end of November in 2017. So that's 2 years and 1 month of skating, and we just didn't like where it was. Now, one thing you need to think about when you're building your box is like the flow of the space. So this little DIY out here, you can see there's not a lot of room. This is almost like a glorified driveway. And as I'm cruising up to this little mock-up I have here, I left it because it's really tall, and it gives you an illustration. So this little mock-up, that's like 17 inches. So that's on the really tall side. This flat bar over here is probably basically what's normal, and it's 15 inches. That's probably normal. And then in the past, what we had is we had the metal on two bricks like this. It was just a brick, and then the thinner brick, you know, and that was about a foot. I would say never go lower than a foot, and you probably don't want to go higher than 15 if it's going to be a basic box. Anything higher than 15 starts to feel really tall, and so you can skate tall stuff, but it might not be fun to skate, and especially it doesn't have good flow potential of just like doing tricks and not really having to like be super focused. It's not good for like learning tricks, you know, but like if you're trying to be a boss, you might want something taller, more gnarly. But the thing is, like, the taller it is, the more time you need, the more ready you need to be to kind of pop that high, and you kind of have to get ready. So like you got to think about how much space do I have before I got to pop on that thing, right? So like the taller it is, the more space, the more ready you need to be. And you know, I've been skating for a long time. You're trying to build stuff that appeals to like everyone. I promise you can probably get away with a 12-inch tall box. Some people are going to complain about being too low, and it is a little low. You might overshoot it sometimes, but if you're at a spot like this where like there's tons of people coming out here, then you got to think about all the beginners, all the newbies. You can't cater to the newbies too much, you know. You can build them a little baby thing. Like I built this little thing, little baby thing, 8 inches tall. But typically, people oftentimes, if they're struggling with this, they're going to struggle with that. And if they're struggling with that, they're going to struggle with this. Ollie's kind of like, once you can ollie on something 12, 15 inches tall, you can pretty much do it. There is a time when you're learning where you probably need to skate something this tall, like 8 inches tall, just to kind of figure out the 50-50s, and you're not really ready for even for something 15 inches tall. But the thing is, like, kids never do that. Like, I don't know what the deal is, but everyone thinks they're a wimp if they learn the 50-50 on the short thing and then take it to the taller thing. They think they have to, like, go right to the taller thing. I don't know what that is. But anyway, I've seen other parks designed by, like, professional park designers with a 12-inch tall box, and it's not really that bad. And for this space, it works good because it's like a everyone box, and we don't have a lot of get ready time, and just that 12-inch height is just a good height. So let's talk about the materials. The bricks are cheap. You can get the bricks for like $2 a brick at Lowe's, or a lot of times you can just find them in somebody's backyard or a construction site. Ask, don't steal. The construction adhesive, you're going to need a caulk gun to use it. This is a caulking gun. Here's two of them here, which, like, what it does, you pull that trigger and it squeezes the glue through, and you do your deed. And then the most expensive and probably the most important part, maybe, is the coping, is the metal coping. So this is an example of what's ideal. Ideally, you want 2-inch by 2-inch angle iron. This is thicker than you really need. This is 1/4 inch thick. This was $30. You're not going to buy this at Lowe's, especially not this long, or Home Depot. You're going to need to go to like someone that says welding shop or metal working shop, see if they'll sell you a piece, because that's pretty much the only place you're going to find it. Here's a piece that I didn't get at a metal working shop. This is an old bed frame that I welded together. These welds here. And this is the proper thickness you really need. It says all the thickness you need is that's 1/8 inch thick. But this is 1 inch by 1 inch, which is not really as big as you need. I'm hoping this will stick on. I've used a 1 inch by 1 inch piece before in the past, and it held on fine. But anyway, we're gonna glue up a box today, and I'm gonna show you about that. The only other tip I got before we start is, this is the part that, like, I watched a million videos and read tutorials about building these things, and this is why I'm making this video, is people don't tell you it's not the easiest thing in the world to get this metal to stick to the bricks and not pop off real quick every time. I mean, if your DIY is going to get shut down fast, doesn't matter, does it? But if you want it to last very long, then you need it to not pop off. So what you want to do, instead of taking the glue and just making a little S, you want glue everywhere. That's the key. Every inch of gluable space needs to be doing work holding that thing on there. But anyway, let's get started. Alright, so I've got the bricks laid out, and I've got the two pieces of coping set on there. Just to show you a little something. I don't know if you can see it, but like, this thing stays kind of level. Then when you get past the third brick, the ground like dips down. See, there's like a massive dip. See there? It's close, it's tight. All of a sudden there's a massive gap. And then it like levels back out towards the end and comes back up. And it's probably because this slab, the foundation slab, is like, it's poured so it'll shed that way down the hill. And that can be more of an issue with the thick, strong piece of angle iron, because you can't really bend it very well to conform it to the shape, and you wind up with a huge gap that's hard to glue. So what you do, and we'll show you when we get to it, is you just fill that with a whole lot of glue. I've done it in the past, it works. And the one I had in the past was like the last two bricks were just like huge, like off by that much. and all I did was like I said, I just filled it with, like, I used the whole tube of glue just on that bit. It held forever. It was stronger than the other side. The other thing that I recommend is clamping it when you're done, especially with the thinner piece. It can be bent and like conformed to the shape. It's more flexible, and so to clamp it, the simple way is, get yourself even more bricks, lay them down on top of it, and then I really, if you can, if it's an issue, clamp side, at least in a few spots with some actual clamps. If you can get yourself access to some pipe clamps or some kind of clamp, glue it up 24 hours, come back out here and get your clamps. The other thing is you want it to form a straight line, which is really important. So in this case, you need some sort of straight edge, which this heavy duty piece of angle iron is really straight. You want to make sure all the bricks are lined up side, like, see, this one's off. You want to make sure they form a straight line. And then of course you want to think about, did I put the thing in a weird angle or something? I don't want to do that. And you can see, like, I kind of zigzagged. I went two this way, I went that way, and then I went that way. Alright, so we'll fix all those goofs and we'll glue it up. So just in case you don't know, I'm going to show you how to use the construction adhesive with the caulk gun. First, you're going to take a knife and, like, it's closed off on the end, but you're going to cut that off. Then you're going to take something like a nail, perhaps, if it'll reach. That one won't reach. But you're going to shove a screwdriver or nail, something long, down in the hole. You're going to puncture. This is a piece of metal that goes it's just flat across the top. You're going to puncture that. You got to put it in the gun. So this gun has a plunger on it. You're going to press this button in and pull on this. It comes back. Okay. You're going to then put it in there, back side first, and then front side goes down. Then you just squeeze the trigger, and then every time you squeeze the trigger, it progresses. The plunger squeezes more glue out, and you'll be putting glue on the ground. Alright, so here's the bottom side of one of these bricks. Now, don't let it fool you. This brick just happens to be filled with cement, but normally they're hollow, and they'll work just fine hollow. Although there are always going to be black woods in there. You don't have to put a ton of brick on the concrete to concrete connections. I mean, a ton of glue on the concrete to concrete connections. You can just put your bead, and I've never had too much problem with these failing. The only one time I ever had one of these fail was when I laid the bricks. I stood the bricks on their small end and had them standing up, and they slowly start breaking one at a time. And on this one, you can go in there. It also helps to make, I think it helps to make a longer box. That's another thing I didn't show you. When you put glue on and you gotta stop gluing for a second, you pull back on this plunger, you push this and pull back. Otherwise, glue just keeps oozing out like crazy. So anyway, I'm gonna set this first brick in place. I'm filming this. Let's see. Gotta turn the camera off, film that. In this case, I'm keeping this angle iron just sitting here on some other bricks as a reference as I go, so that I know I'll keep making it straight. I'm just gonna go down and glue these on, then we'll glue the angle iron on. Alright, so what we're gonna do, everything's glued down, and basically the gist of it at this point is I'm gonna put a phenomenal amount of glue to fill in all the voids on here. And as you can see, it definitely doesn't, like, there's a huge gap right here, so we're gonna need a lot of glue. Anyway, that's it. Alright, so this is Sammy, and he's putting some glue on. He's just making a nice little squiggle. Yo. And what we're gonna do is Once he gets done with that, we're gonna put it on the edge and just slide it back and forth, then pull it back off and look and see where we need more. And if I have to go to Lowe's and get 2 more tubes of glue, I don't care. The key is that we have enough. All right, so now there's huge gaps and we're just shoving more glue in those gaps. I promise it'll be the strongest place on the box. Alright, so this edge that was rounded over took a phenomenal amount of glue. We used 4 tubes of glue to glue this side. And we're all done. We shoved as much as we could in the cracks everywhere we could. We're gonna find out in the future how well it holds on. In my experience, it either fails pretty fast or it holds forever. So we'll know pretty soon. I got 2 clamps on here holding it on. And then I'm gonna put some bricks on it.
So here's the box.
Okay, the box.
We have been skating it. It's the 3rd day of skating it. And I did run into a problem. I got impatient. The glue wouldn't dry. We had 100% humidity for 2 days after I built it. And you saw the giant wad of glue we used. Well, it wouldn't dry. It was still smushy. And it's actually been a week at this point. We had 2 days of skating, 3 straight days of rain here in Georgia, and now we're skating it again. So even though the glue wasn't dry, I took the bricks off and tried to skate it, and the thinner metal on the, I don't know how to explain it, the thinner angle iron started coming off. So a friend had an idea. He said, why don't you take some of those blue concrete screws and put them in, and put them in on the side over there. And it totally worked. So what I'm going to do is going to show you. Here it is down here. I actually put the big side is held on with just glue, but there's the screws, and they don't really catch your wheel down there on the side. I literally just shot a screw in the side of the brick. Drilled the pilot hole. You got to get the proper bit and everything, and drill a hole in the metal, recessed it into the metal. I'm going to come over here and get my board just to show you. It hasn't caught anyone's wheel, those screws on the side. It doesn't catch on board slides, and I can't see why it would catch on tail slides. It hasn't been a problem. No one is really that good at tail slides yet, but it hasn't caught anyone, so it's not a problem for us. But I guess if you do have that problem, you can do something about it. I mean, see, that's not really going to hit your truck, really, that screw. But see, there, the glue is still smushy. It's a lot cheaper glue, but it's not exactly as strong. We'll just see how it goes. Maybe I'll do an update. But anyway, there you have it, guys.
Hey!
Yo, that's gonna actually look dope.
My front spin, back to back.
That's sick.
You're good, dude.
I came right behind you. That's it. And then I came right back behind you. That's some dope. Yo, we can get some sick double lines on this shit.
Do a board slide.